Whispering Pines was a town cloaked in secrets. Nestled deep in the mountains, it held on to its stories like precious jewels. Lily and Max, two friends with a thirst for adventure, lived for these stories. They explored every dusty corner of their small town, their laughter echoing through the quiet streets. One crisp autumn afternoon, whispers of a different kind reached their ears. The wind carried tales of a dilapidated cabin hidden deep within the woods. It was a place locals avoided, their eyes darting nervously when it was mentioned. The abandoned dwelling, they said, was haunted. Lily and Max exchanged a mischievous glance. A haunted cabin? It was too intriguing to resist. The thrill of the unknown beckoned, fueling their desire to uncover the truth behind the whispers. This wasn't just another town secret. It was a challenge, and they were determined to meet it head-on. The sun began its descent as Lily and Max ventured into the woods. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink, casting a warm glow over the treetops. They had been planning this adventure for weeks, eager to uncover the secrets hidden within the forest's depths. The air grew cooler, the playful sunlight replaced by long, eerie shadows. The forest seemed to come alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures stirring. The rustling leaves and distant hoots of owls added to the growing sense of unease. The deeper they journeyed, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The trees, once welcoming, now loomed over them like silent sentinels. Each step they took seemed to echo in the stillness, amplifying their sense of isolation. The playful banter they usually shared faded, replaced by an uneasy silence. They exchanged nervous glances, each wondering if the other felt the same creeping dread. The forest, which had always been a place of adventure, now felt like a labyrinth of shadows. The path was overgrown, reclaimed by nature. Vines and roots twisted across the trail, making their progress slow and arduous. It was as if the forest itself was trying to keep them from reaching their destination. Thorny bushes snagged at their clothes, and fallen leaves muffled their footsteps. The undergrowth was thick, and every step forward felt like a battle against the encroaching wilderness. They had to be careful not to trip over hidden roots or get caught in the brambles. A sense of isolation settled over them. The forest seemed to close in, the trees forming a dense canopy that blocked out the remaining light. They felt as if they were the only two people in the world, lost in a sea of green and shadow. The familiar woods, usually a source of comfort, now felt alien and menacing. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig made them jump. The forest, once their playground, had transformed into a place of unknown dangers. Finally, through a thicket of trees, they saw it, the cabin. It was just as they had heard in the stories, hidden deep within the forest, away from prying eyes. The sight of it sent a shiver down their spines. It stood in a small clearing, shrouded in an unnatural stillness. The air around it was heavy, as if the cabin itself was holding its breath. The clearing was eerily quiet, the usual sounds of the forest muted. Its wooden walls were decaying, windows boarded shut, and the roof sagged precariously. The cabin looked like it hadn't been touched in years, left to the mercy of the elements. It was a relic of the past, forgotten and forsaken. An air of melancholy hung over it, a sense of forgotten memories and lingering sorrow. It was as if the cabin held the weight of countless stories, each one etched into its weathered walls. The atmosphere was thick with the ghosts of the past.
Max, this place, it feels different. Lily's voice trembled as she spoke, her eyes darting around the clearing. She had always been the braver of the two, but now even she felt the weight of the forest's oppressive presence. Not like the other places we've explored. There was something about this place that set it apart, something that made it feel more real, more dangerous. It was as if the forest itself was warning them to turn back.
Lily's hand instinctively reached out, grasping Max's arm. She needed the reassurance of his presence, the comfort of knowing she wasn't alone in this eerie place. Her grip was tight, her fear palpable. Her heart pounded against her ribs. Each beat echoed in her ears, a constant reminder of the fear that gripped her. She tried to steady her breathing, to calm the rising panic. This wasn't a game anymore. This place felt genuinely eerie. The forest had taken on a life of its own, its shadows and sounds weaving a tapestry of dread. They were no longer explorers. They were intruders in a place that didn't want them.
I know, Lily, but we're in this together. Let's see what's inside. Max's voice was steady, but there was an edge of uncertainty. He squeezed her hand, trying to convey a confidence he didn't entirely feel.
Max, sensing her fear, gave her hand a reassuring squeeze. They had faced many challenges together, and this would be no different. They had each other, and that was enough. They were in this together. With a deep breath, they took the first step towards the cabin, ready to face whatever lay inside. The forest watched silently, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. Taking a deep breath, Lily and Max approached the cabin. Each step was hesitant, their footsteps echoing in the stillness. The closer they got, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. The front porch creaked ominously under their weight. The door, hanging precariously from one hinge, groaned as Max pushed it open. The interior was dark and dusty, the air thick with the smell of decay. Shafts of light pierced through cracks in the boarded-up windows, casting eerie patterns on the dusty floor. Despite their initial fear, curiosity pushed them forward. They moved cautiously through the main room, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Cobwebs clung to their clothes, and dust swirled around their feet, disturbed after years of undisturbed slumber.
Watch your step, Lily. The floorboards are loose.
Max stumbled over a loose floorboard, the sound amplified in the stillness. Lily jumped, her heart pounding in her chest. A wave of unease washed over them. They were intruders in this place, unwelcome guests in a house of shadows. The main room of the cabin was sparsely furnished, the air was thick with the scent of decay, and the wooden floorboards creaked underfoot, adding to the eerie ambiance. Shadows danced on the walls, cast by the dim light filtering through the broken windows. A dilapidated sofa sagged in the corner, its upholstery ripped and faded. It looked as though it had been abandoned for decades, a silent witness to the passage of time and the secrets the cabin held. A rickety table occupied the center of the room, its surface covered in a thick layer of dust. The table seemed to be on the verge of collapse, much like the cabin itself, which stood as a testament to forgotten memories and lost stories. But it was the fireplace that drew their attention. The hearth, cold and empty, seemed to hold a certain significance, as if it had once been the heart of the home, now reduced to a relic of the past.
Look at that portrait above the hearth. It feels like it's watching us.
Above the cold, empty hearth hung a faded family portrait. The colors had long since dulled, and the faces in the picture seemed to blur with age. Yet their presence was unmistakable. A man, a woman, and a young girl stared back at them, their eyes strangely vacant. The expressions on their faces were unsettling, as if they were trapped in a moment of time, unable to escape. The family seemed frozen in time, their smiles haunting in the dilapidated room. Lily shivered, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature.
There's an unsettling sadness that clings to this portrait, like lives interrupted, happiness abruptly extinguished. It's as if they were taken away too soon, leaving behind only this eerie reminder.
As they examined the portrait, a gust of wind rattled the boarded-up windows. The sound was jarring, breaking the silence that had enveloped the room like a shroud. Lily jumped, her heart pounding. The sudden noise had startled her, and she felt a growing sense of unease. The sound, amplified in the silence of the cabin, seemed to whisper a warning. It was as if the very walls were trying to communicate, to tell them something they couldn't quite understand. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, their every move observed by unseen eyes. The sensation was unnerving, making her skin crawl. Max, though outwardly calm, couldn't help but feel a shiver run down his spine. The oppressive atmosphere of the cabin was starting to get to him, gnawing at his nerves.
This place, it's really starting to get to me. I can't shake the feeling that we're not alone here.
He tried to rationalize the strange occurrences, but the oppressive atmosphere and the feeling of being watched were starting to get to him. The cabin seemed to hold a life of its own, whispering secrets of the past, and the weight of those secrets pressed heavily on their minds. The air grew colder and the shadows seemed to lengthen, as if the cabin itself was alive, breathing and watching their every move. Lily and Max moved to a small side room, drawn by a sliver of light. The light seemed almost otherworldly, casting long shadows that danced on the walls as they approached. It was as if the light was calling to them, urging them to step closer and uncover its source. The air grew noticeably colder as they crossed the threshold. It was an abrupt change, like stepping from a warm summer day into the depths of winter. The chill seemed to seep into their bones, making them shiver involuntarily. Lily rubbed her arms, trying to ward off the sudden chill. She glanced at Max, who was also feeling the cold, his breath visible in the frigid air. The room seemed to be alive with an eerie presence, making the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. It felt as if they had stepped into a refrigerator, the temperature dropping drastically. The walls seemed to close in on them, the oppressive cold making it hard to breathe. Every breath they took was a struggle, the air thick with an unspoken tension. The room was bare except for a small wooden desk tucked beneath the grimy window. The desk seemed out of place in the otherwise empty room, its presence both intriguing and unsettling. It was as if the desk held the key to the mysteries of the cabin. The desk was dusty but well preserved, unlike the rest of the cabin. It was almost as if someone had been taking care of it, ensuring it remained intact while the rest of the cabin fell into disrepair. The contrast was striking, making the desk stand out even more. A single drawer hung slightly ajar, as if beckoning them closer. The drawer seemed to hold a promise, a secret waiting to be uncovered. It was a temptation they couldn't resist, despite the growing sense of unease that filled the room.
This desk, it's different from the rest of the cabin. It feels almost alive, like it's been waiting for us. There's something about it that draws me in, makes me want to know more. It's almost like it's waiting for us, like it has a story to tell, a secret to reveal. I can't shake the feeling that we're meant to be here, that this desk is the key to understanding the cabin's mysteries.
Curiosity outweighed their growing unease. Despite the cold and the eerie atmosphere, they felt compelled to stay, to explore further. The cabin seemed to hold them in its grip, refusing to let them go until they had uncovered its secrets. Lily cautiously approached the desk, her hand hovering over the drawer. She hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding in her chest. The air was thick with anticipation, the silence almost deafening. She could feel Max's gaze on her back, his silence speaking volumes. He was just as curious as she was, but also just as wary. They both knew that whatever they found in that drawer could change everything. They both knew that they should leave, that this place held nothing but bad memories and unsettling energy. Yet, the pull of the unknown was too strong. They had come this far and they couldn't turn back now. Yet, they couldn't bring themselves to turn back. The cabin seemed to hold them in its thrall, its secrets whispering to them, urging them to stay. They were caught in a web of curiosity and fear, unable to break free.
Something about this cabin, this room, it's like we're meant to be here, to uncover whatever secrets are buried within these walls. I can't explain it, but I feel like we're on the verge of discovering something important, something that will change everything.
It was as if they were meant to be here, to uncover the secrets buried within these decaying walls. The cabin seemed to hold its breath, waiting for them to take the next step. The air was thick with anticipation, the silence almost palpable. They knew that whatever they found would be significant, that it would change their lives forever.